we've got some pretty darn good racers coming from deep in the pack.
No one's won a race this year, Vince, outside of a top 10 starting position. I really think that could change tonight. We've got some heavy hitters in the back. Last race out, Austin Hill was on the pole. Now he finds himself starting back in 22nd. We know how fast Brandon Jones was at Chicagoland race. From 19th up to 2nd, he'll be charging. Jeb Burton, a former winner, and you talked about Friesen having a bit of a comfort level on the playoff cut line, but he could lose some points in this week coming up. That could change his game. We know he's going to charge. We heard Allen say a bit ago that he finished 2nd in this race a year ago. He started from the back, so he's pretty comfortable doing just that. It's going to be fun watching him charge.
Well, he's due. We say that all the time, right? Stuart Friesen, he's finished runner-up more than any driver who has not won in series history. So eventually he's going to have his night. Well, what a big story it would be if that night would be this night. Hey, let's get these trucks fired up.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command from the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety, please welcome law enforcement liaison from Northern Kentucky, Troy Dye.
Drivers, start your engines.
Trucks are fired, drivers are ready, we're ready. Race 13 of 16 in the regular season, getting ready to roll.
Live here at the Kentucky Speedway. This track is 70 feet wide, the second widest racetrack on the entire NASCAR circuit.
Oh, and a big crash.
Oh, and there's the caution. Huge hit for Kennedy.
Rhodes wins at home in Kentucky.
Wow.
Goodness. Yep, thanks.
No.
Not at all?
No.
Not even at the stage?
No, Caleb.
Should we, can we call him or something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got black flag.
You want
for
to
that
sit in
one.
my chair? Because I'll probably stand most of
You will, Vince?
If Jimmy needs to sit.
That wasn't in there a minute ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
We will. Okay.
Right here in this beautiful mile-and-a-half facility.
You want to sit there? Because this stuff is just trash.
He must have watched our on camera, huh, that guy?
No, he was not. He's not paying attention.
We have a starting lineup. Jimmy?
I'm a traveling man.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a great night to be at the racetrack. A hot day and a beautiful evening for the Gander Outdoors Truck Series at Kentucky Speedway. A couple of practices this morning, qualifying this afternoon, and these teams will welcome the cooler temperatures tonight, eventually under the lights, and maybe give that track a little bit stickier feel, because we saw some guys skating all over the place earlier in practice and qualifying today, Mike.
Yeah, let's check out our Gander Outdoors track description. You can see 1.5 miles in length. Turn 1 and 2 banked a little bit more than 3 and 4. That's the same thing we saw at Texas, which produced the most cautions ever on a 1.5 mile track. So we know it's going to be crazy tonight. And you're going to see a darker lane in each end of the corners. That's traction compound. Those guys will be driving in that using 3 and 4 wide racing in the corners.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. See if this race is 150 laps, 225 miles, 3 stages. First stage 35, second 35, and the final stage will be 80 laps. You see our pit window somewhere between 50-55 laps. That means we will have pit stops in that final stage. Ben Rhodes was our winner last year.
Starting lineups after qualifying this afternoon, and Grant Enfinger scored the pole for the second time this season. Sheldon Creed alongside on the front row with his best ever starting position.
Todd Gilliland right there below the cut line. Needs something to happen here.
Brett Moffitt, he's right there contending week in and week out. Another strong Chevy for that team.
You know, it's interesting, you talk about needing something to happen. There's a lot of drivers on that list as we see the starting lineup roll through that need something to happen tonight.
I think about half of them on this list, on the starting lineup, need something good to happen tonight.
32 trucks will line it up and race here for the 22nd time at Kentucky Speedway. The place where Carl Edwards scored his first career win in the Truck Series, so maybe it's going to be a special kind of night for one of these young drivers to get their first win tonight. Well, before we get started, let's go downstairs and check in with our pit reporters, beginning with Hermie Sadler.
Well, Vince, Matt Noyce is the crew chief for Ben Rose in the 99. Tough outing for you guys at Chicago a couple weeks ago. How difficult was it for you to refocus your driver and your team to get back to business tonight?
Not really at all. We knew we had a mistake there in the motor side, but we're focused. We're ready to come here and win the race tonight, and make sure we get locked in these playoffs, the next 4 races. So wasn't really than this hump in the road, but we never lost sight of what we got to do.
Alan?
Johnny Sauter is riding a streak of finishes outside the top 10. Needs a good run tonight. I'm with his crew chief, Joe Shear. What is the key to success at this racetrack for you?
Well, it's all going to be about track position. The track's so smooth and it's got pretty good grip, and hopefully we got good grip and we can get up front and stay there. That's going to be the key deal.
That's the deal for them, guys.
Boy, Johnny Sauter outside the top 10, 5 straight races, almost unheard of. But in fact, that's ties the worst string he's ever had. So I know those guys really want to have a good show tonight. Let's take a look at some of those onboards.
We're going to ride along with Harrison Burton. This is the Safelite Auto Glass Toyota for KBM. He's starting in the 6th spot. And how about that visor cam? We're going to get a great view from Harrison tonight as he tries to work his way towards the front.
Hey, Phil, that's me right up there in front of you in the Menards Ford. Matt Crafton rolling off 4th. We're going to be able to look at him as he battles through the corners right into his eyes as he races tonight. This is a great view, and I can't wait to see how this race turns out. I think it's going to be crazy. I believe we're going to see a lot of cautions.
The last 6 races here, a Kyle Busch Motorsports truck has led the most laps. And you've got Todd Gilliland starting in the 3rd spot, Harrison Burton starting in the 6th spot, and then all the way back you go to that 51 truck. You got to go deep in the field to find Brandon Jones in 27th.
I'm just glad we can find that truck because it was out of control in qualifying. It looked like a backup truck was next up for him, but he was able to hang on to it. It's going to be a lot of fun watching him come from the back.
Great look at that traction compound laid down in those corners. The Pace truck is off. Getting ready to go racing, and so great to be doing it on a Thursday night. Going to be under the lights when we finish, but right now the sun's out and we are green with Grant Enfinger and Sheldon Creed leading the way.
I said 3 and 4 wide racing. We got the 3 down in the first turn. How about that?
We didn't see really very many guys up in that traction compound in practice or qualifying. They're already up there.
Infinger didn't get off to a very good start from that outside starting position. Whoa. And Sheldon Creed has taken the lead, as we saw somebody get up out of the groove there and outside that traction compound. Creed leads the first lap with Infinger second.
There's Johnny Sauter, that teal number 13 truck, looking for some room. Riding along now with Matt Crafton.
Check out the loose truck skittering up the track. That's Ben Rhodes. Now we're 3 wide on the back straightaway. Matt Crafton with the big push to Moffitt.
Rhodes going backwards, but it's already been a better night than he had last time we raced, because by now he was done. He was headed to the garage when that engine failed. But
yeah, he's on the second lap now, just about to complete the second lap. A lot better night.
Yeah, but certainly had his hands full as he got outside the groove. And there you see him in the middle of that 3 wide in that 99 truck. A Kentucky native, winner of this race last year, and such a special night for him to be able to win here in front of his hometown friends and fans. A couple of ThorSport trucks, Matt Crafton the onboard, and his teammate right beside him is Johnny Sauter in the 13 with Tyler Ankrum ahead in the 17.
Yeah, no huge surprise to see that 17 of Tyler Ankrum running up front. That young man has really done a nice job this year in his first year in the truck series.
What's the difference from what we see in the traction compound, that dark area, versus the gray? How much grip is there in that traction compound?
It's significantly better once it gets tracked, once it gets some heat in it, and the trucks use it. The more they use it, the better it'll get. So it's going to be so close to contact there off the wall. But Vince, it's interesting because these trucks will change as the sun goes down and the traction compound will change. It's going to be really key and very important for the driver to communicate to his crew chief what kind of adjustments he needs.
There's one of the guys you talked about, the 51 of Brandon Jones, now trying to work his way underneath Austin Hill in a 16 truck. He has made a major move, already up to the 16th spot.
Yeah, he's picked up double-digit positions already, and as you can see, you might like that traction compound, but not everybody can fit in it. So you're going to, if you're going to make some moves, you're going to have to use all the racetrack here, and Jones is certainly doing that. He had one of the best trucks in practice, got a big wiggle in qualifying, and that's why he ended up starting 27th, but we knew he was going to be a player tonight come race time.
I talked to his crew chief, Rudy Fugel, and he was really happy with how that truck was performing, as well as how Brandon was. Obviously, that was before qualifying, and he had that big slide over there in 1 and 2.
The early laps here at Kentucky Speedway with the rookie Sheldon Creed leading the way. Started on the front row, was top 5 in both practice sessions, qualified well, qualified on the front row, and has jumped out to the lead right out of the gate. And he is one of those drivers outside the cut line, and you know, we've talked about it. If a guy like Sheldon Creed would happen to win, how that would really turn this playoff picture upside down.
Yeah, without a doubt, he can certainly do it. He had a 3rd place finish last year here in the ARCA Menard Series, so he does have experience here at this racetrack, just not in a truck.
Look at the big movers. We mentioned Brandon Jones there in that 51. He's up 11. Stuart Friesen has moved up 10. Remember, he had to start at the back in a backup truck. Austin Hill, already a winner this season, has picked up 7 spots.
What about going the other direction, Vince? Matt Crafton has dropped all the way back to the 13th position, battling alongside Tad Finley here. And this is surprising because I talked to Crafton before the race, and he was so confident about how good this truck was going to race, but he got put 3 wide and didn't get the best start to this event. So his experience and knowledge of how treacherous it could be on these starts and restarts is probably why he was conservative and lost those positions.
Junior Jordan, his crew chief, told me to grab hold of my seat. He said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win here tonight.
Nice little showdown there for 7th. That's Brennan Poole on the outside in that white truck, the 30 truck, and Tyler Ankrum inside in the 17.
I'm becoming a big fan of Tyler Ankrum. You know, Brennan Poole's a talented racer. Got that 2nd place finish over at Charlotte this season, but man, Ankrum just gets better and better, and he's just so impressive. 18 years old and able to run on these super speedways like he does.
That really says a lot for this race team too, this DGR Crosley team led by David Gilliland.
Sheldon Creed, last year's ARCA champ, out front trying to get his first career Truck Series victory. He's a long way, but he's out front. Where do you want to go, Jimmy? That's a good looking truck, that 51 is too. I like that red, white, and blue.
Well, he's just mowing them down. They brought a good one this week. They usually save those for Kyle, but once they gave Biffle that one, I guess they thought they could just give them to anybody.
And Kyle's done now, too, for the year. So.
Austin Wayne Self?
Yeah.
Okay. Have them elaborate. Yeah.
Have you iterated it yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just make sure he iterates it again. Here comes the Toyota Toshu. He's doing a nice job.
Hey, Austin Wayne Self, like you said, is doing a good job.
For a total of 4. I ain't nothing but a simple man.
Brandon Jones was second quickest that lap.
Pass for the lead.
Josh Palicki got a little loose, and Sheldon Creed was able to take advantage of it. Man, he opens it up too, big time.
Sheldon Creed, we said before the race, he needs to win if he's going to make the playoffs, so he's off to a pretty good start. Yeah, got a lot of work to do, but he has been out front for all 14 laps so far. Last year's ARCA champ. He knows how to win. He certainly did plenty of that last year in the ARCA series. Winning at the truck level is a little bit different. What's been the biggest transition, you think, for Creed this year that he's had to make?
I think a lot of it's the aerodynamics with these trucks. They certainly rely on that downforce. They have a lot of downforce, but when you get side by side, then you lose that downforce. But he's putting some solid finishes together, no Vince. The last 5 races, his worst finish is 12th. So he's figuring out how to get to the end of these things.
Yeah, but this was a perfect start for him, Vince. He took the bottom on the initial start, cut that apron down, and really gained an advantage into turn 1, and now he's set sail. He doesn't have to worry about what you're talking about, Phil, racing side by side and getting the truck in trouble aerodynamically. I think he's going to have his work cut out for him as this night goes on, because that's going to happen. He's going to have to learn how to race tight on the bottom and see how that works out.
And Tyler Ankram's done a nice job learning how to race. There he is on the bottom, passing last year's champ, Brett Moffitt. Maybe a little too tight. Moffitt didn't like it.
Moffitt gave him a little shove, it looked like.
Moffitt said, "You really didn't quite have me cleared."
And you still don't.
Just looks a little slippery still up in that traction compound, and even though the name of it tells you that it should provide traction, it seems like we saw a lot of trucks really slipping around in that traction compound, especially during qualifying. Granted, that was in the heat of the day. Will it change significantly here in the cooler temperatures?
Keep an eye on this now. Exactly what you were talking about here. That's Spencer Davis in the 11, Jordan Anderson in the 3.
Whoa.
That's a little bit too wide, a little bit outside.
There you saw Clay Greenfield making his second start of the season in that 68 truck. He got a really nice view of that craziness, didn't he?
Sure did.
Nice run for Jordan Anderson over the course of the last month and a half or so. 6 straight finishes inside the top 20. That team, the number 3 truck there, how far that team has come since its inception in the series. Boy, and this battle continues to heat up between Ankram on that inside and Brett Moffitt on the outside.
That's a great illustration. You saw Moffitt up there in the traction compound, the 17 of Ankram down below the traction compound, and it looks like the traction compound won out on that instance.
Yeah, and I think we're going to see that more and more. I think these guys, as their tires get some heat in it, they run up in it, get a lot of trucks in it. It could be an advantage to be on the high side.
And Matt Crafton off to a poor start in this race. Remember, he started 4th and just complaining about weighing far too loose to start this race. And it's really surprising. This is a Matt Crafton type of racetrack. He has 8 straight top 10s here at Kentucky, including a win. But to start this race, just too loose and heading the wrong direction, guys.
Well, they don't write you that check for lap 20, and they write it for the last lap. And Crafton has a way of being there at the end, that's for sure. He's on a 10 race streak of top 10 finishes, and my guess is before we're done tonight, he's going to be there in the top 10 somewhere in the mix. Junior Joyner, his crew chief, can't believe it. Midway through stage 1, it's been all Sheldon Creed.
I think that's weird because he's leading to have him in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Yeah. I know there's probably no way to, to do it.
I'm with you though. I agree. I would almost, if I was doing the program, I would just have him in the position of first.
Yeah.
Versus winning.
Yeah. Looks like Rhodes isn't going to get any playoff points, and Harrison's going to get some, but he might lose 1 or 2 right here.
What? Yeah.
Man. He barely got out of the throttle and went. And Brett just drove up beside him when he did.
Whoa. They're way out of it now.
Yeah.
See that traction compound starting to...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about it, but we can talk more.
Okay, yes, let's give Ross Chastain a little love at some point.
It's a stark white truck, isn't it? You remember what James Hunt's owner used to call his F1 car? Roger? Or Greg? It was immaculate white. Yeah, immaculate white.
Sheldon Creed continues to lead the way. 26 laps in here at Kentucky Speedway, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Working our way toward the latter stages of the regular season. After tonight, just 3 races remain to position yourself for one of the 8 playoff spots. Creed currently on the outside looking in the playoff picture. And as we wind down here in stage 1, let's get some updates from pit road, beginning with Hermie.
Hey, Vince, you mentioned a little bit ago, Sheldon Creed really has shown the ability to go fast. That's not been the issue. The issue has been finishing these races. He's 63 points below the playoff cut line. He finished 11th in the last race in Chicago. First truck start here, but he does have some ARCA experience. And earlier today, he was the first truck that got up in the traction compound that started finding a lot of speed, Vince.
Well, and a problem for the 16 truck of Austin Hill, who won our season opener at Daytona. He's got him a playoff spot, so this isn't damaging to his playoff hopes per se, but certainly a disappointing set of circumstances with Hill having to come to pit road, Alan.
Yeah, and Austin Hill came over the radio, said it just started to lose power. The gauges and everything look fine. The hood is up, as you can see. Now they're going back. They checked the plug wires. We're going to go see what they did.
We talk about the fact he has a win, so he has a spot in the playoffs, but the points are big because you get some points for the playoffs as well, depending on where you finish in the regular season point standings. And every point matters, and whether it's a stage point in this race or a points at the end of the regular season.
Yeah, you get 5 points, 5 playoff points for winning a race, which is what Austin got. You could hear that engine not sounding very well, by the way, but you get 5 playoff points for winning a race. Well, if you're the regular season point leader, you get 15 points. That's the equivalent of 3 wins. You get 10 points for second, the equivalent of 2 wins. So it's so important, those into the regular season points.
And it's not going to be a good night for Austin Hill. And as Phil noted, you probably heard the sound of that engine.
Yeah.
It is not good, and he's going to bring it back to pit road.
They won't be able to meet minimum speed with an engine running like that. So that's going to probably spell the end of Austin Hill's evening.
The late laps here in stage 1. You see 4 laps remaining here in this initial stage. There's Ross Chastain in that white 45 truck, and it's almost amazing to see how white it is. No sponsorship on that truck. I mean, here's a guy that's got a couple of wins. He won the Xfinity Series race last week at Daytona. Maybe one of the biggest stories in all of NASCAR this season.
Yeah, thank goodness, though, for Al Neese and Neese Motorsports. They wanted Ross in this truck, and Al's committed to doing whatever it takes to do that. But what a great battle we have here. This is from 5th on back.
Look at that run. Brandon Jones in the 51 truck gets what a nice push there. Is he going to get inside of Moffitt?
Remember, Jones started all the way back outside the top 25 tonight, and there he is running inside the top 10 now in that 51 truck at the back of that long, or of that 4-truck line. It's Chastain in 5th, and then Harrison Burton, Brett Moffitt, and the 51 of Brandon Jones, who's running double duty this weekend, of course, full-time in the Xfinity Series.
Stage points available right here for these guys here in just a couple laps. 10 points to the winner of the stage, 1 point for 10th.
You can tell how important it is. These guys are battling it out, trying to grab a spot inside the top 5. Again, Jones is loose off the corner. Moffitt hops to the bottom. He's going to make that pass.
Yeah, that loss of momentum for Jones cost him that spot. He made the pass, got a little bit loose, had to jump out of the throttle, and Brett drove right by him.
Boy, if you have to just even burp the gas a bit, they go right by you with that momentum. And look at Harrison Burton all over the back bumper of Ross Chastain for 5th place.
Harrison's in pretty good shape right now to get some good stage points. Right now, the guy above the cut line, Ben Rhodes, is running in the 15th spot, so he's obviously not going to get any stage points for this first stage.
Sheldon Creed wins stage 1 here at Kentucky. And a good battle for 5th with Ross Chastain and Harrison Burton. 5th and 6th. Can Burton manage to challenge Chastain? No. Ross Chastain takes the 5th spot. And Johnny Sauter claims that last stage point, 10th place.
Matt Crafton back in the 12th position. One of the strongest trucks in practice this morning. He struggled during this first stage, but I'm interested, Phil, to see what this track does, what adjustments the crew chiefs make, and understanding as that sun sets with the traction compound, this place could change a lot.
Yeah, it's still hot right now, and the sun's still out too. That's going to change here shortly.
Well, the 11 of Spencer Davis will get the free pass. And Sheldon Creed, who opened the 2019 season with a stage 1 win at Daytona, hadn't won a stage since until just now. His 2nd stage win of the campaign.
How about Grant Enfinger finishing 2nd this stage? That's the 15th consecutive stage that he's finished 4th or better.
Wow.
15 in a row.
And that's why he's the points leader.
Exactly. Just points him to death.
With a lot of speed. He sat on the pole, and he just does a nice job working with the team and getting the adjustments he needed. It'd be interesting to see how this night really plays out. We talked about track position. Do you get 2 tires? Is that a move these crew chiefs might make here in order to get toward the front? We saw Creed up front just drive away from the field. I know those crew chiefs are thinking about that strategy.
The last 3 years, the final pit stop was either no tires like last year for Ben Rhodes, or 2 tires the 2 previous years to win the race.
Well, other than Austin Hill, who came in with that problem, they had to raise the hood. We've not seen trucks on pit road yet, but we're about to. Led by the leader, Sheldon Creed, making his way down pit road and bringing a long line with him. Hermie Sadler is there for Creed.
Well, Vince, he loves his truck in turns 1 and 2. He's wide open, a little bit tight in 3 and 4. They'll make an air pressure adjustment. 2 right side tires only for the 2. The 98 of Grant Enfinger. His truck is a little bit on the tight side, sliding the nose center out. They'll make a track bar adjustment. 2 tires also for the 98, Alan.
Rookie Tyler Ankrum is on the bottom of your screen. He had a great first stage there, finished 4th, drove his way up, but he's complaining about a weak engine. despite that, the crew chief, Bono Mannion, said, we'll take some tape off. Don't worry about it. Do not slow the stop down. 2 tires for Ankrum.
And how about Grant Infinger's crew getting the 98 off pit road first?
By a fender.
Started the race on the pole, but didn't lead a single lap in that first stage. But Infinger's going to have another shot at it with a restart to begin stage 2. 1 stage down, a couple to go. We're going to come back with stage 2 from Kentucky after this. Hey, what about a interview with, why don't we do a crew chief interview instead of a driver interview? Maybe Creed's, I don't know, whatever you think, but. Or Infinger's, probably Creed's. I think he had one too many. You say that guy was asleep.
Oh. I like talking to Randolph. He's a good interview.
Now it's since Creed's not leading. Now that's more representative of.
Tightened up there, didn't it? 4 points and then 2 points between 10th and 11th. Who was it?
Oh wow!
Gosh.
Both Thor Sport guys. Do you have that on video, Mark?
So that'd be coming to pit road?
Yeah.
Couldn't see it. Oh. Oh yeah.
Probably supposed to have all 4 inside. Yeah. There's no reason for that.
You think that took them a bit by surprise that it was open that quickly?
Well, I don't know, but Johnny was 10th. Johnny was 10th.
But maybe they didn't decide. Maybe the crew chief hadn't.
Because normally we go to break there, and it's
that's what I'm
2 or 3 laps. Yeah, it's quite possible.
So where they have to have them?
I think they have to have all 4
before the
on
yellow.
Yes.
Before that yellow line.
You got to touch it.
Yeah. Yeah. All 4 have to be below that box. That's a great. Well, like Michael said, we always go to break at the end of the stage, and we didn't do it this time. So they may have been expecting 2 or 3 laps of caution. But still, they're running 10th and 12th in line.
No excuse.
There's really no excuse.
We don't have telestrator, do we?
We don't have radios either.
But we got a lot of energy and a great camera crew.
Who's got him? Hermie? Back here at Kentucky Speedway, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Oh, what a beautiful evening. Doesn't look so pretty for that guy, though. Johnny Sauter and his teammate Matt Crafton both penalized on that first pit stop for a commitment line violation coming to pit road.
You saw that yellow line right there. Johnny was outside of it, as well as Matt Crafton. You have to have all 4 tires on that yellow line inside of the square box. They obviously didn't do it. That's their penalties. They have to come in and do a stop and go.
And they were 10th, 12th in line, so it really doesn't make any sense why they wouldn't have been over to the left further. I know these are experienced veterans. They know where that line's at, and they know that you have to be on it in order to pit.
Well, while certainly that didn't go the way it was planned for Johnny Sauter or Matt Crafton, hard to argue how things have gone so far for that 2 team of Sheldon Creed. And let's hear from his crew chief. He's with Hermie.
Yeah, Vince, Doug Randolph is the crew chief. It's been solid all day. You guys have been fast in practice, qualifying, and now the race. The question is, how's this track going to be different with this traction compound, and does that change the way you approach things as we get later in the race?
Well, it definitely changed practice today, and Sheldon's done a great job adapting to it. Guys are doing a great job. We just have to win to get in. So tonight is about taking the chances that we feel necessary to try to win a race.
What kind of changes did you have to make on this pit stop to give him what he needed?
Well, we just did 2 tires. Just going to let the track cool off a little more and see what we got.
There he is. So far, so good for the 2. He'll roll off second on this restart.
Well, he talked about taking 2 tires. The top 9 all took 2 tires. So the first with 4 would be Ross Chastain in the 10th spot.
I don't think Ross was overly tickled with this truck. I don't think it was handling like he wanted it to be handling. So making an adjustment and getting 4 tires, that will open up the playbook for him as well, Phil. Later, he can get 2 tires, maybe the other guys will have to get 4.
And as you look on the left-hand side of the screen there, our playoff picture as it currently stands, but Ben Rhodes and Harrison Burton, just 4 points separate those two for that 8th and final playoff spot.
Yeah, Harrison got some points in that first stage. Ben did not, and Ben put 4 tires on where Harrison only put 2 tires on, so that's why they're separated now by about 7 positions on the racetrack.
And the driver that's not listed there would be just beyond Todd Gilliland, Sheldon Creed. He's led 36 of the 40 laps, so we can expect to see Creed maybe throw a wrench in the picture here before it's all said and done tonight.
We said at the top of the show, Vince, a lot of things can change here, and it could change in a hurry tonight.
Well, this is the way we started the race, with Grant Enfinger on the outside, who was the pole winner earlier today in qualifying, and Sheldon Creed on the inside. But it was actually Creed who got the lead on the initial drop of the green flag. We'll see how it plays out here in the restart. You would think that outside line would be the preferred line. Back racing at Kentucky. It's stage 2.
Better start this time for Enfinger. He was able to get on the gas. Look at those guys 4 wide down on the apron.
Where was Harrison Burton going? I mean, he was 3
going in a
car
hurry.
lengths underneath the line. Man, he was using it all.
Tyler Incan pulled down the block, and they made contact down there on the apron.
Man. Oh, this isn't going to work. Austin Wayne Self eases out of it a little bit to give Burton some extra room. Crazy at the start of this second stage. And look at the 51 of Brandon Jones moving into the second spot. He started 27th.
In 32.
Oh,
big hit.
Natalie Decker is in the 54 and Spencer Boyd in the 20. Also Jordan Anderson involved. Man, that 20 is torn up.
You see Spencer taking the window net down. That's a great sign.
Jordan, if he doesn't have any radiator damage, they might can put that hood back down and he can continue on. But that truck for Spencer Boyd is totaled.
Boyd has hopped out, and that is good to see. And there's Natalie Decker in the 54, able to drive hers back to pit road. And Phil, you said something, and I'm sure there's some fans out there that maybe aren't familiar with what that means when a driver puts that window net down.
Yeah, that's the signal to the safety crew that he's okay. And you see Spencer jumped right out of that truck, but that's a great sign for all of us, really all of us watching at home too, as well as here at the racetrack, that he's okay when he puts that window net down.
Follow along on social media with Spencer, and he got a new sponsor, Record Rack, there on the side of the truck. We'll see what happens here. He's in the middle of the screen, the orange truck. He's going to dip below Decker in the 54, bounces up, just wasn't quite clear of Natalie, and she was holding her line, and they clipped Boyd into that outside wall.
Yeah, can't really put any blame on Natalie there. She, as you mentioned, Michael, just holding her line, and he thought he had enough room to get in front of her as he tried to make that pass down in the apron.
And that all happened right in front of Jordan Anderson, and Anderson just had nowhere to go.
Yeah, and you can see the fluid running from beneath that truck. So my fears of the radiator being damaged, I think, is going to be the end of Jordan Anderson's night. You mentioned it earlier, Vince, a string of top 20 finishes for this young race team, and really getting better and better week in and week out. And unfortunately tonight it ended early.
Yeah, it's going to be a big break for Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter, who had to start at the tail end of the field because of that penalty on the pit stop.
First caution of the night due to incident, and it involves the 20 of Spencer Boyd and the 54 of Natalie Decker, the 3 of Jordan Anderson.
What do you think that is, Phil? Junkyard?
A 20 is for sure, yeah. Got to be, right? Look how hard it hits the outside wall.
Watch him hit Johnny. Look how close this is.
Yeah, he wasn't even close to cleared.
Bam, hit Johnny and then
hit Johnny,
wall.
yeah. And that's a byproduct of having a pit road penalty.
Yep.
Yeah, I said that just now. They had to start at the tail end of the field, yeah. I think Johnny's going to be okay.
Yeah, but that's good to point out. That's a great point. The penalty put him back there, and that's what happens when
it almost was much worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
He just had a foot to spare probably without some serious getting turned.
Yeah, he looks a foot farther up, and it turns him around. Right. And going into the corner.
Watch.
Can you spot shadow it from in there?
Oh, it's pretty clear what happened.
Yeah. Man, he hit hard, didn't he?
He did. At least he didn't climb up on the wall like Ben did.
Yeah. She's backing right into him, isn't she?
Testing.
Into the
testing.
Into the door.
Testing. See what's happened. This is going to be interesting with Creed. We talked about he's out front and he was gone. It's easy. Now it's tough.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he just messed up. That 20 guy did.
Yeah, yeah.
She can't assume he's going to pull up there. She's got one on her outside.
Nobody on the inside.
Full.
Team's getting ready to get back to work after the All-Star game, and on Saturday on Fox, got a World Series rematch between the Dodgers and the Red Sox. Our other regional action includes the Giants and the Brewers, the Nationals and the Phillies. All start 7 o'clock Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Fans here enjoying a beautiful night at Kentucky Speedway in tiny Sparta, Kentucky. Under 300 residents in Sparta.
It's a lot bigger than that tonight.
It is indeed.
See Johnny Sauter there. Phil, you talked about him going to pit road with that penalty, and that team narrowly avoided disaster in that huge crash with Spencer Boyd.
Yeah, he and Matt Crafton had to restart the tail end because of that penalty on pit road. Look at the damage to Johnny's, and it could have been so much worse. Let's take a look at what happened. You see him, he's on the outside, kind of behind Matt Crafton in that yellow truck. That's Natalie in the middle, and that's Spencer that's not quite going to clear Natalie. And look how close it was. He actually made contact with Johnny. Johnny was able to straighten that out, but Johnny was oh so close to being just destroyed in this race, and that was all a byproduct of that penalty and having to come to pit road and start at the tail.
And there's no way there Natalie Decker can expect Spencer Boyd to pull up like that. She was just running. She had Sauter on her outside. She was just running her lane through the middle. Spencer thought he was clear, moved up at just a little bit more than he should have, and obviously that turned out to totaling out his truck.
You know, how about the season it's been for Johnny Sauter? You know, got that win at Dover, but the last 5 races all outside the top 10. Had that incident at Iowa in which he and Austin Hill had that on-track incident. I was trying to look for the right word as to how to describe that word. Johnny lost his cool and wrecked Austin Hill after while the caution was out, and they suspended Johnny for 1 race for that. And 5 straight finishes outside the top 10. Very un-Sauter-like.
Yeah, prior to that, you know, other than Daytona where he got caught up in an incident, every race was in the top 10, having a great year. But they can turn it around. As we talked, he won Dover, so he's already qualified for the playoffs, and he's going to be a contender from here on out.
And I don't think that's enough damage to hurt their chances tonight. They could still win this race with no more than happened there on that left rear.
Well, they dodged a bullet, that's for sure. Mike, I think you said you were hungry. I think you got a PB&J coming your way.
That's what they put on the racetrack, right?
Yeah.
They were going to add some extra. That
man, they can't even put that thing on the hook. Got a flatbed. Yeah. I bet they don't even get 21 for that.
I'm going to get 21.5 for that. I don't think. I would say that's going to be wholesale. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, tough day.
Uh-oh. I like this view better.
That sun. Yeah.
I think it went down quite a while ago on him.
I think illustrate that point what you were talking about with Creed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. You hear that, Mark?
I'm afraid that's going to be the beginning of the end of him.
Well, that's confidence.
You just seen it before, you know.
Wonder if they have any damage to that wall, or are they just blowing it off, maybe?
Oh, you're thinking something special.
This week on NASCAR.
What was that special that we aired on?
We'll put together a hit. That baby's gonna make us some money.
If you're going to make an album, you needed those 6 people to do it.
One of those guys was going to win the race every Sunday.
We had to be good. We had to make the singer look good.
None of us could sing.
I didn't think I could sing very good, but I could make noise.
I don't even remember. It was such a flop.
It didn't go platinum. It went plastic.
I think they kept it hid, so that saved our reputation all these years.
We'll put together a hit. That baby's gonna make us some money.
If you're going to make an album, you needed those 6 people to do it.
One of those guys was going to win the race every Sunday.
We had to be good. We had to make the singer look good.
None of us could sing.
I didn't think I could sing very good, but I could make noise.
I don't even remember. It was such a flop.
It didn't go platinum. It went plastic.
I think they kept it hid, so that saved our reputation all these years.
Oh, what a great show. Looking forward to seeing that, that's for sure, coming up on Wednesday night.
Yeah, you got to check that out. Buddy Baker singing A Bowl of Butter Beans is worth your time, I can promise you.
Well, the one they had this week, This Racing Life, about that young lady, McKenna, was a terrific little short.
Yeah, our folks do a great job as part of Race Hub and our Behind the Wheel series. You know, we're going to see all this dust being blown off the racetrack. Reminds us that we're going to be going to Eldora before too long, and they'll be treating the track with a little different equipment.
Yes, slinging some mud.
How quickly has that become one of the favorite spots on the whole Gander Outdoors Truck Series schedule? And we've got some great races coming up, diversely different racetracks. We're here at the 1.5 miles at Kentucky. We're going to go to the Triangle in Pocono, and then there she sets, Phil.
I don't think we can compare any one of these 2 racetracks. I mean, Kentucky 1.5 miles, Pocono's 2.5, Michigan 2. Well, that sounds all the same, but it's not even close. In Bristol, that's certainly an animal of its own. And then we have the road course in Canada.
And of course, between Michigan and Bristol, that's the cutoff, the regular season finale at Michigan and the playoff opener at Bristol. Well, one of the big, excuse me, Mike.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one of the big stories tonight has been the performance of the Brandon Jones in that 51 truck. Started 27th, and he sits P2, Hermie.
Yeah, and Vincent, the one thing that Brandon says he cannot figure out is qualifying with these trucks. You know, he says he goes out, he thinks he holds the gas down. A little bit concerned, or maybe he has something to learn with the line he needs to run around the racetrack, line sensitive, but his truck is shattering the right front tire in turns 3 and 4. They adjusted that, put 2 right front tires on it, and he is driven from, you know, the back of the pack. These guys qualified 27th all the way up to 2nd. So just think, if he could qualify up front, he'd be a handful.
Well, he's been a handful already. The same thing at Chicagoland. Started back in the 19th position. This is a story I want to follow. We saw Sheldon Creed, and we know he's inexperienced, especially on these high-banked, fast tracks. He's now going to restart in the 4th position. How can he maintain? How can he gain a spot or two, get back out front, and continue dominating this race? Or in traffic now, does he lose positions? Doug Randolph, the crew chief, they elected to make no changes because that truck was perfect out front. He drove off to a huge victory in that first stage. It's going to handle wildly different now, Phil, with other trucks in front of him and around him.
All these drivers will tell you that clean air is king. Right now, he doesn't have it. He had it for the first 35 laps of this race in that first stage.
Well, and how about the 24 of Brett Moffitt, last year's season champ and the winner at our most recent race at Chicagoland? What's going on in that 24 camp, Alan?
He's running well right now, but you just saw the truck behind him, the 4, kind of swerving. We see drivers do that all the time, clean off their tires. His crew, Brett Moffitt's crew, is telling their driver, don't do that. Don't scuff your tires so much. The last time you came in for a pit stop, they told him, the right rear was pretty close. It was pretty low on rubber, if you will. They don't want him scrubbing off any of the good off those tires because on that last run in the first stage, it was pretty close to being not as good as they wanted right now.
You saw the shot of Jerry Baxter, the longtime crew chief.
Yeah, he used to work for me over at MWR. Just a great guy, racer guy. He's the one you want rolling up his sleeves and getting in there and working on those trucks. Does a great job working with Brett. I think they've hit their stride, that duo now, with the wins and the competitive nature of that team.
1, 2 of the last 3. They're on the move for sure.
So it's fair to say they've hit their stride.
I think so.
2 out of 3. Yeah,
I think so.
Here's what's left of that 20 truck of Spencer Boyd.
Nothing, I think, is.
There's nothing that you can use,
no,
right? It's going right to the junkyard.
Both sides, front and rear.
Getting ready to go back green here in stage 2 with Grant Enfinger on the outside as the control vehicle, and that's Brandon Jones inside. You know, Hermie reported they were trying to figure out exactly what line he should run and so forth. He's up 25 positions. I think the line he's running is just fine. Getting ready to wave that green and going back racing here at Kentucky. How about Brennan Poole in that 30 truck? Oh, he's caught in a bad spot. And the 24 of Moffitt has to get out of it. Well, there was a near accident right there involving 3 trucks that could have collected so many more.
Look how much momentum that Brett Moffitt lost, having to back off.
And look at this mess. Stuart Friesen has not run well in this race so far, but now he's starting to make some ground up on the very high side.
Whoa, too high.
I said he was making ground right up until he started losing it.
There's Johnny Sauter in that 13 truck, and around goes the 42 of Finley.
And no contact there, just got out from under him.
Some heavy damage to the rear for Chad Finley. Making his 4th start of the season, was running just inside the top 15.
Been showing a lot of speed in practice and some good qualifying. You know, I think the team is getting better and better, and Finley's wheeling it, but unfortunately down in turns 3 and 4 where that truck got away from him and heavy damage. That's it for him tonight.
Yeah, that's terminal for sure. Strutmaster's on board that truck.
You know, so many, and I know the traction compound is supposed to provide grip, but maybe it has nothing to do with the traction compound. Maybe it's just coincidence, but we have seen so many trucks that just look like they're skating up
there. We saw when we watched this replay, you can see, you're right, Vince, it just looks like maybe too fast for conditions. We talked about aerodynamics. This truck's just simply in a bad spot.
He got loose getting in the corner. He really didn't have anyone tucked up underneath the rear. Just a little bit loose here, relatively full of fuel. It hadn't been that long since they were on pit road. You see Johnny's got, you know, a good bit of distance between he and Chad, and just one of those things. That truck's just a little bit too loose. Probably would have built up some air in the right front tire in a couple more laps, and this might not have happened.
Well, just for those that think, well, it's traction compound, there's no way they're going to lose control in that sticky substance. Well, that's certainly not the case, and we've seen a number have issues today in the traction compound sections.
Racers' job, Vince, is to try to go right to the edge of traction. And if there's compound there, that means they can go even further. And every now and then, it doesn't work out.
It's that next step. It's a step past the edge that gets you.
Cody Robart getting the free pass around the outside onto the lead lap. That'll put the top 20 trucks in this event on the lead lap.
See if maybe we have any takers. We're about 14 laps. How about Sheldon Creed coming down pit road to mix up the strategy a little bit?
And a few others, but Creed certainly the most notable, Hermie.
We heard the crew chief Doug Randolph say just a couple moments ago, we have to win. That's more important to them than a stage win or possible stage point. So they're going to come in, get their service done. They like the balance of the truck, but an opportunity to get 4 tires and top off the fuel, Alan.
Tyler Ankrum in the 17 really having a good run. It's just not having good restarts. They've been coaching him on that, how to better approach them, how to get better restarts, maybe leave a little more of a gap when those restarts happen. But 4 tires for Tyler Ankrum. Again, having a good night, a lot of speed. Just have to improve when the race goes back green.
Oh, and there's a bad sign. The 4 of Todd Gilliland with the hood up, and not just the 4, but also maybe issues for the 99. Last year's race winner here at Kentucky, Ben Rhodes.
Hopefully it was maybe just an adjustment under the hood, not a situation with the engine. You saw them adjusting on the rear. Maybe it was adjusting on front and rear. I mean, what's going on with Todd Gilliland?
Yeah, possible big-time issues for the 4. Last time they came back for the restart, Phil, when he got on the gas, Todd Gilliland, the engine just did not go. And he's been saying for the last 4 or 5 laps, he felt like it was down a cylinder or even maybe a plug wire off. We've seen some of these issues with other teams over the course of this season, but we'll follow up and see if they've got it back up to 8 cylinders, but certainly a lot of track position lost for Todd Gilliland.
Oh, it doesn't sound good either, Hermie. It's definitely missing down a cylinder as he leaves pit road there. So the team obviously evaluated what they have and what their options might be, but that's not good.
Yeah, we've had a number of issues this year with plug wires. Again, essentially all these teams run the same motor. It's built by Ilmor Engineering. They call it the NT1 as Ben Rhodes makes his way back down pit road and that Carolina nut Ford.
That had every look of just serious chassis adjustment.
He hasn't been very good. We thought he would be a lot better. A lot of guys talking that he was one of the better trucks in practice, but he has not been that strong. And I think you're exactly right. They took the opportunity to maybe adjust, maybe raise the front end. Maybe he's down on the splitter a little bit too hard. Maybe raise the front end. Now they're going to put 4 tires on it.
Well, for Todd Gilliland, he's in a position really where he needs to win. And we also heard the same, Doug Randolph, the crew chief for Sheldon Creed, say the same. Not the case for Ben Rhodes. I mean, from a points perspective, you know, he can still point his way into the playoffs, but last week finishing last with the first lap issue and the problems that he's having tonight, right now he is dead even on the cut line with Harrison Burton for that final playoff spot.
Yeah, and again, 2 weeks ago, he was 53 points ahead of the cut line, and as they run right now, dead even with Harrison Burton.
But you're right, he has options, Vince. He can point his way in or he could win a race, which is great. Especially with the engine problems with Gilliland, he has no options. He's going to have to win one of these final 3 races.
Well, getting ready to go back green, and when we take that green, there will be 11 laps remaining in this second stage. Grant Infinger on the outside and Brandon Jones on the inside with Harrison Burton and Brennan Poole right behind him. Chastain taking a look and going to the bottom. Side by side with Harrison Burton and near contact with Burton's right front, and now Burton goes around and he's going to collect a couple.
Johnny Sauter's in that. That was the 12th truck as well. Looks Johnny Sauter kept going, maybe minimal damage maybe to Johnny's truck, but not so fortunate for the 12 of Gus Dean.
I thought there was a lot of contact by Johnny Sauter.
That's Josh Balicki there in the 34.
It all started right here. with the 18 truck. Harrison Burton got sideways.
They were very close. He and Brett Moffitt were very close in that corner. I'm not sure that you see a little bit of damage to the left front of Harrison's truck.
Anytime you spin in the middle of a pack and that's the only damage you get, I believe they can pull that out and maybe still be competitive with that truck.
Burton was running just inside the top 5, and the 12 of Gus Dean was in the 9th position. Watch the replay. It's side by side for Ross Chastain and Harrison Burton on the restart. Chastain in the white 45 will dip way below the line, and side by side go he and Burton, and ultimately that leads to Burton, I think, getting a little too loose right there with Brett Moffitt.
Well, he had Brett there, and Brett probably didn't realize that they were 3 wide at that point. You see the contact there from the 12.
I think Sauter got through there clean.
I think he did too. You see the 34 of Balicki also made contact.
That's just an aggressive start by Ross Chastain. We see it all the time in the Truck Series, 3 and 4 wide on these starts, and Harrison just ran out of room, was on the inside of Moffitt. Truck got loose, and Johnny Sauter,
I'm not sure he made any contact or lost some track position, but that's maybe about it.
I think initially maybe right there he ran into the back.
You could see the hood buckle up a little bit.
Yeah, he ran into the back of Gus Dean, and like I said earlier with Jordan Anderson, if he doesn't get into that radiator, I don't think there's enough damage where it's going to cause Johnny much problems. They'll have to work on it, but hopefully that's the only issue.
Harrison Burton coming in to have that left front addressed. How serious does it look, Alan?
Well, that's what they're trying to assess right now. They're going to put 4 tires on it and look at the damage on that left front. It was interesting. Before that restart, Harrison Burton came over the radio just begging for his spotter. There's only so much a spotter can do, but just saying, don't get me 3 wide, don't get me 3 wide, almost knowing what would happen if he went 3 wide, and we saw what did. 24 also on pit road, checking for damage. And the 13, we saw a little damage there get into the 18. You can see crewman underneath the wheel well right there, the Bondo tape going, trying to fix the front, slamming down the hood, just trying to salvage whatever they can. Another disappointing week for the 13 at the moment.
Yeah, that's a lot more damage to Johnny Sauter's truck than I initially thought.
You know, what about the Kyle Busch Motorsports team? What's happened to them here in the last few laps? An engine problem on this Ford truck of Todd Gilliland, and then the spin from Harrison Burton that has caused damage to the left front of his truck. Let's ride on board. He said, don't give me 3 wide spotter. Well, Ross Chastain says, I'm here. And he grabs that line, and it just put Harrison just too close to Moffitt, and it just simply spun him around.
Is that just they're kind of racing? You have to lay out there on a restart, Mike, or is Chastain being maybe a little more aggressive than need be?
That's trucking. That's the way these truckers race. We saw it a couple of weeks ago in Chicago with Austin Hill and Grant Enfinger, how 4 wide and how aggressively they were, how they race. That's just life in the Truck Series. You cannot not expect to be somebody dive in on you and try to swipe those positions, especially on a restart, because things are all tightened up.
We didn't have any cautions in stage 1, and here we are in stage 2. The longest green flag stretch we've had is 3 laps since you look at Kyle Busch.
I was selling cautions pre-race. We go through that first stage. People are like, Michael doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, this is what you get. This is the way these guys race, and this place is conducive for going 3 and 4 wide, and that generally means trouble.
That was a big break for Todd Gilliland. I think they came down on pit road and tried to repair that problem possibly. I saw one of the engine guys with a plug wire. I think they were just going to try to ride it out. They didn't have time on the previous caution. We're going to try to ride it out to the end of the stage where they had time to work on it, but this caution gave them time to work on it now. Hopefully he has that thing fixed, and then he'll be good to go.
Yeah, it's been a tough night so far for 2 of the 3 Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks.
And as fate would have it, the other one's leading.
Yep. Who started 27th, we might add. And you see how that point picture there on the left-hand side of the screen continues to develop. Both KBM trucks, Harrison Burton and Todd Gilliland, currently on the outside looking in. How about Ben Rhodes, Hermie?
Yeah, Vince, we saw the 99 on pit road a couple times with the hood up. I can confirm that the issue under the hood was not engine related. The crew chief Matt Noy said they were changing the wedge or putting wedge into the front of the truck. They were trying to change the manner in which the sway bar loads going into the corner. You guys may want to add on that a little bit, but drivability is not what what Ben wanted. So they wanted the sway bar to load earlier on entry into the corner, especially turn 3, to give him a little more stability into the corner.
Yeah, just as you guys suggested, you thought maybe they were making a chassis adjustment there on that 99, and it wasn't any sort of an engine issue.
And that's what everyone says is the trouble spot on this corner. The challenging part is getting into turn 3. As Harrison Burton said, it's like you're going into a parking lot. It looks so flat when you get down there to turn 3.
Well, let's try it again, boys. Double them up and see who can get that big run. We saw what Chastain did on that previous restart when he got that nice launch and was inside of Harrison Burton before they got to turn 1. Now Chastain's down on the inside behind Grant Enfinger. What about Matt Crafton? We talked about his struggles early in this race, and now he's come alive.
Didn't he just restart at the back just a few minutes ago?
Yeah, for a pit road penalty. But I'm telling you, I think this track will continue to change too. And maybe if your truck wasn't perfect at the start, it could be an advantage as the track conditions cool off.
It may come into you, it may work into towards your setup.
Well, the restarts are always crazy. We've seen that time and time again, but when you get to such a late point in the stage as we are now, there'll be 6 laps remaining when we take the green. You gotta go hard and maybe take an extra chance or 2 because you're going to position yourself for stage points here at the end of stage 2. So Grant Enfinger on the inside, and the control truck is Brandon Jones on the outside in the 51. Back racing at Kentucky, 6 laps left here in stage 2. Great jump by Jones.
A little bit of a push from that 88 of Matt Crafton. Now Matt is side by side with his teammate Grant Enfinger.
Nice run through the center there for Enfinger to clear Crafton. And then look at that Hornet's nest behind them.
Tyler Ankrum makes it 3 wide in that 17 truck to grab a couple spots.
Stewart Friesen inside the top 10. Oh, and there's Enfinger and Jones hard into the wall. Running 1 and 2.
Vince, you talked about running hard to try to get these stage points, but that sure looked unnecessary there.
Yeah, Enfinger, he got loose on the bottom, Phil. He dove on the inside of Jones, got loose, and then the two got together and just never got apart.
Well, I can't believe Brandon Jones is going to be very happy with Grant Enfinger after that incident.
No, that's you're exactly right. That was just an aggressive move that maybe we'll look back on it and say I could have been a little smarter there, will Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, certainly nothing intentional. There's no way that was intentional, but you see Grant just shaking his head in there.
Well, and frustrating for Enfinger also, obviously, because he not only does he lead the regular season in regular season points and trying to get that into the regular season bonus, but he's not won a race yet this season. He's got the best average finish coming into this race, best average finish in the series of the full-timers, but hadn't won, and that really kind of been sticking in the craw of this team. They desperately want to get to victory lane, but it's not going to happen tonight.
You remember at the very top of the show we talked about, our top 4 is locked in. Grant Enfinger's pretty comfortable. Well, that comfortable lead on the rest of the playoff contenders is going to go away because he got 9 points in that first stage, and he's not going to get very many more points tonight, though. So he's a huge big chunk of that margin he has right now is going away.
You see Brandon Jones offering his critique.
You see right there, Phil, he just got loose down on the bottom, but that actually, I think Enfinger got loose even before that, entering the corner, and they bumped, and then it just, right here.
He's down out of that traction compound. Brandon Jones is in the traction compound. As you mentioned, Michael, he just got loose, and he needed more room, and unfortunately, the 51 truck was there. Had Brandon Jones not been there, he would have been fine. He could have used that whole racetrack and made it fine.
This was the beginning of the end right here. That gun, he gunned it through the middle, slid up, loose. They just got hooked together. Nice job. Was that Ben Rhodes there slipping through? That was a near miss for that young man.
Cody Robaugh also with that 9 truck doing a nice job avoiding them.
How about the view from the windshield of the 18 Harrison Burton?
Wow. That's pretty serious.
Brett Moffitt was right there as well, so he was thankful he didn't get caught up in it.
It's amazing. We have the 2 trucks racing for the lead right after a restart crash, and there are only 2 trucks involved.
That's some heads-up driving by the competitors that saw that mess start early, and I think Ben Rhodes might have been the star of that show, being able to narrowly miss those wrecking trucks.
It's got to make you sick if you're the crew chief, Jeff Hensley. And of course, Rudy Fugel, the crew chief on that 51. So back-to-back races now for the 98 and problems. This was the most recent race at Chicagoland, and Austin Hill got up underneath him, and Infinger didn't really like the way Hill took the air off his truck, and they had words afterwards.
Yeah, that was just racing at Chicagoland. We saw it on this previous restart when Ross Chastain in that 45 truck went to the apron and made it 3 wide and grabbed a spot. You got to expect to be raced that way. These truck races are short. You got to go in a hurry, and Infinger was not happy with how Austin Hill raced him at Chicagoland, and I'm sure Brandon Jones isn't happy with what happened here tonight in Kentucky.
We're only just a couple laps to go here with this in this second stage, so I would imagine we're going to finish this stage under caution. Matt Crafton is going to end up winning this second stage and getting the 10 points that go with it.
Now, he started 4th and was running 13th. Then he got a pit road penalty.
And went up to the back.
And went to the back, and now he's going to win the stage?
Yes.
I did not see that one coming.
That's what makes this sport so great, right? Just ask Justin Haley. Sometimes you just don't see it coming. Coming back to Kentucky Speedway, it is a beautiful night, even though some of the racing maybe has been a little less than pretty.
The longest stretch was 3 laps in that stage, green flag stretch.
Crazy.
And I thought Michael was looking like an idiot when he said we're going to have all sorts of caution.
He was. The guy won first 2 trucks, won the first stage by 11 seconds. Ain't nobody been even sideways. I'm not. You can fool me once, but not twice. John? You think it's something special?
You need a little charge? Michael's hogging the...
I'm good.
Here you go.
No, I'm good. I got it plugged in over here.
Oh. I'm good, Phil.
Okay.
Phil.
Okay.
Hermie?
Hermie with the 45.
Spencer Davis Group.
Hey, coming up Sunday, one of Major League Soccer's most intense rivalries reignites right here on FS1. The New York Red Bulls hosting NYCFC, the Hudson River Derby. All the action kicking off at 6:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. What a beautiful night here in Sparta, Kentucky. Kentucky Speedway, the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Great to have you with us tonight, and it's been an eventful kind of two completely different stages. Stage 1 was event-free, and then Stage 2 has been everything but. It's been, in fact, the longest green flag stretch we had in that second stage. 3 laps.
I couldn't believe that, but that is true. Several times 3 laps, but that was it.
Matt Crafton credited with his 3rd stage win of the season.
I don't think he won a single one last year, did he?
0 stage wins last year for Crafton. But, you know, they've had such a good season. I mean, they've done everything but win this year for Matt Crafton, that 88 team.
But don't you, I see him running more 7th to 10th than, you know, 2nd and 3rd up toward the front. So his average running position in this race, in fact, is 12th. He won this stage with an average running position of 12th. So that team still needs speed, but they felt really confident about the way this truck ran earlier today in practice and that they would be a contender. And we saw the concern on Carl Jr. Joyner's face early in the race about how they were performing, but that's certainly gone now as they feel good about this truck.
He had a runner-up finish at Texas on a 1.5 miles not long ago. Another one of those racetracks with different ends like this one does.
Well, as they run, this is the playoff picture. And remember, after this race tonight, we'll still have 3 more races in the regular season, but it is tight at the cut line with Ben Rhodes and Harrison Burton.
And no more footnote. With those 15 points that Ross Chastain has earned in the stages, that puts him in the top 20, which is one of the prerequisites for making the playoffs.
And remember, Chastain has 2 wins, but only one of those counts towards the championship because that Kansas win was prior to him declaring his intentions to run for the Truck Series title.
Well, how did that Xfinity win at Daytona the other night affect?
That didn't help him at all.
Not at all.
But it sure felt good.
Yeah, I'm sure it did, yes.
Fun to watch. Congratulations to Colleague Racing. Those cars up there, 1, 2, 3 for a while. Matt Colleague, I heard him say, I don't care what happened afterwards. I got a picture of our cars finishing 1, 2, 3, and that's what I'm going to call it.
That dreaded post-race inspection.
Yeah, that didn't work out for him.
But they got Johnny Sauter's truck before the track even opened for practice, or not Johnny Sauter, but Stuart Friesen before track even opened for practice today. So Friesen's in that backup 52 truck.
If it just wasn't inspection, period, things would be a lot easier, wouldn't they?
Wild, Wild West.
Brett Moffitt down outside the top 10 here, end of this stage. I think they got some issues with the lineup.
Yeah, let's check with Alan real quick.
I'm down here with Junior Joyner. Up and down night. We had a pit penalty in the stage, and then you go out and you win the stage. How'd that happen?
Just working hard. These Menards guys never stop, man. This F-150 has been good all day. I don't know what happened in the start. I thought we had a tire going down. It was unbelievable, but Matt's done a heck of a job. Hedleski on the roof. All these guys are working their butts off, and there's no quit in this team. So I know we got a good truck. I just got to get them back out in the lead right now. That's all we got to do, right?
They're coming in for a pit stop. He told me before. They need to get some laps to know how good they are.
Yeah, shout out to spotter Jason Hedleski there. It's a team effort. Driver, spotter, crew chief, others over the wall.
We're so fortunate, Phil. We get to swing by usually from our broadcast position at the Speedway, swing by and talk to all the spotters. They're quite the characters up there on that roof, and they all certainly want to get along and work everything out, but there's sometimes a little bit of tension up there when your driver gets involved in a crash with another driver. There you can see the spotters here at Kentucky Speedway.
It wasn't that long ago when they were talking about throwing one of the other spotters off the roof, if I'm not mistaken. So they don't always get along, I guess, is what we're saying.
Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. Well, finally, pit road is open, and here they come, led by the Stage 2 winner, Matt Crafton. We'll go to Hermie first.
Well, Vince, Ross Chastain is up to 2nd. His truck's been a little bit on the loose side. He has asked him to take a spring rubber out of the right rear spring. We'll see if they take the time to do that. Having trouble with the right rear. You see the changer going in for that. So they make that adjustment. 4 tires and fuel for Chastain. Alan.
Another surprising run for the 15 of Dylan Lupton in the middle of your screen. Remember, just back in Chicago, he made his debut for this team and ended up with the top 10 trying to do that again. On the bottom of your screen, Matt Crafton came in for fuel only. Interesting call there for the leader. They want to keep that track position, guys.
Boy, Dylan Lupton nearly got T-boned by Mason Massey there. Massey got on the brakes and really cut Lupton a break. Hermes with Grant Infinger.
Yeah, Grant out of the infield care center. Solid day for you guys to start out with. Turns sour tonight. What happened?
I mean, I just screwed up. You know, lost a little bit on that restart, then got a big suck down the back straightaway going into 3, and I got separated enough I felt like to clear him and go ahead and slide up there, and just didn't all the way clear him, and then just lost my air and wrecked it. Can't really run side by side. You see right there, I just lost my air right there. That was all on me. Trying to make something happen and just didn't pan out, but hate it for our ThorSport Racing guys. This Champion Power Equipment F-150 was definitely had a shot at going to victory lane tonight, so hopefully one of our teammates can get it done.
Vince?
You saw that graphic, first DNF this season. In fact, his first DNF since 2017. A costly one tonight for Infinger and Brandon Jones. Good hustle down there, Hermie.
He can get, just because he's 50 doesn't mean he can't still move, Mark.
I know for somebody that age, I mean, he gets around pretty good.
I know, it's a little bit surprising, but
he should come play basketball with us.
He should. He does have game, too.
Does he?
Mm-hmm. He'd probably run out of wind, though, once or twice up the court.
You might think so.
He can bring his buddy to play, too. Tyler Hansborough.
Yeah. We don't need that kind of aggravation, Phil. We look stupid enough as it is.
Compared to somebody that really knows how to play.
I think Tyler Hansborough would take one look at y'all and go, no. We'll just sit over here and watch.
I'll probably so we were hurt out here with these yahoos.
Denny, you got something else in this place I can do?
We like.
You got a golf simulator or bowling or.
Halfway through the second half, we call a timeout and everybody gets together and like the main thing, guys, we just have to hit our layups. We could just make our. I said, are y'all serious? Like is that what our game plan is? Make layups.
Top 5 stay out.
And look at that top 5, would you?
Yeah.
2 of them been in crashes and 3 of them ain't never. I won't say never.
We got a 3rd place run, Ankrum, earlier. Got a 2nd place run in Poole earlier. Dipple, I don't think has a top 10 this year, does he? Yeah, he finished 8th at Texas. Yeah.
I'd make him feel better by saying the other guy said it was his fault. Like a.
Yeah. I'll be quick. Get to you quick, Hermie. Yeah. Okay. The top 5 stayed out on track, did not pit. 6th through 10th took fuel only. So some different strategies as we get ready to begin the 3rd and final stage. There will be 75 to go. About the halfway point.
Wish them luck, Vince. I mean, this is a mixed up lineup right here. Well, guys that didn't pit at all. No tires on some of the trucks.
Well, it's just been crazy. I mean, that stage 2 and the restarts have just been unbelievable. We expect that, but some of the carnage that has been created, something else. That's Brennan Poole on the inside. Tyler Ankrum, the lead truck on the outside. Back racing the final stage at Kentucky.
You got Ben Rhodes jumping in the outside of Harrison Burton.
Rhodes going to try to make it 3 wide.
Crafton loose.
Rhodes tucked in behind Ankrum. Now Harrison Burton makes it 3 wide for 2nd and gets it for the time being.
These guys are getting it that these restarts are important and you have to be aggressive. What a great move by Harrison Burton.
Saw Ankrum running through that speedy dry and kicking up the dust.
What about the adjustments Matt Noyce made on that 99 truck? We saw the hood up in the front and track bar and wedge adjustments in the back, and that truck has come to life.
Here comes Brett Moffitt too. He's on the outside of the 0-2 of Tyler Dipple, trying to grab that 5th spot.
What about Tyler Ankrum? We talked earlier about him needing to figure out how to nail these restarts. Well,
he did it.
Let's check that one. Let's check that box. What a great job this young man's doing.
There's Dipple in the 0-2 and Brett Moffitt side by side with Dylan Lupton in the 15 trying to get by.
Tyler Dipple's hanging tough there on the inside of Brett Moffitt. Brett should have the advantage, and he does as they get down to turn number 3.
That's for 5th.
What about Lufton? We hadn't seen him around a while. He top 10'd at Texas.
What a great run by Lupton again, and you guys mentioned it. He's going to run 6 races with that DGR Crosley group this season, and he'll be back in the truck at Bristol, then Vegas, ISM, and Homestead.
Yeah, I said Texas. I meant Chicagoland. He hopped in that truck, got a top 10 there, and running well again tonight.
Moffitt has some clean air now. He was able to get by the 30 of Brennan Poole to move up into the 4th spot.
Just outside the top 10, Ross Chastain trying to make a move on Matt Crafton, completes it. That is for 12th, and Stuart Friesen just ahead of him. Dipple and Brennan Poole door to door.
That's when you see trouble, when these trucks get really close to each other in the turns. You can see Dipple's got a nice run there off the corner, gets loose.
See, Brennan Poole gives him plenty of room in the corner, but then side drafts him down the straightaway.
And just behind that 15 truck of Lupton, as Dipple has to gather it up, is Sheldon Creed, who's led the most laps tonight. Led 36 from the start, and then after that first pit stop, ended up restarting 4th and has not been back to the front since. And while this has finally sorted itself out a bit, let's hear from Brandon Jones, who's with Hermie.
Yeah, he's out of the Cash Center, Vince. You started 27th, got to the front. You had to figure the heavy lifting was over, then your night is cut short. How do you call that one from where you sit?
Yeah, it's difficult, man. I heard the run and on the radio what he had on me. We're just so competitive up on the front row that you know, to do slide jobs, you really got to have a good truck to do it. So I just don't think he had enough momentum, and it ended unfortunate way. But all in all, this was Solus Air's hometown race. So I wish we could have probably got him a win. I think we had the truck to do it all night long. Like you said, we drove up there from the back. So we got one more with these guys. We got Phoenix. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do there.
All right, Vince.
Thank you, Hermie. And you saw some of the damage there on the back of the 2 truck of Sheldon Creed.
Sort of talked about that, Vince, at the top of the...
We got a tire rub there in the right front.
Yeah, I think he may have. He's got a flat right front tire on the right front. He needs to slow that thing down before he gets to the corner.
Yeah.
Not quite enough.
We talked about at the top of the show about running in that clean air and how great that truck was out front. He got hemmed in the back, and that's just lack of experience. You got to take care of your truck, and wasn't able to keep it onto the wall there, Hermie.
Yeah, what a bad turn of events for the 2 as well. As you can see, a flat right front after contact with the wall. They'll come down, try to get that repaired, but Doug Randolph has already told us tonight they have to win one of these next 4. Tonight was a good shot for them prior to this.
Watch it here and see if...
Just loose.
Boy.
Right on the tailgate of another truck and gets sideways and hard contact.
Yeah, it really was. Darn it.
I think that could... I guess they can beat it out, but he certainly...
They're out of contention anyway.
Yeah, look at this battle.
For the lead, Tyler Ankrum in front of Ben Rhodes. Ankrum has led more laps tonight than any other race in his career. He led 9 at Texas earlier this season when he finished with a top 10, and he has been out front for 14 tonight.
We haven't talked a lot about Tyler Ankrum as far as being playoff eligible, but he is playoff eligible. He hasn't really been in the conversation. He wasn't old enough to start the season, but once he turned 18, he's run every race. NASCAR gave him a waiver to allow him, just like they did Justin Haley when he turned 18 in the middle of the season. So that young man is also playoff eligible, and if he was to win this race, talk about turning the playoff race upside down.
And then Ben Rhodes, he came in a hurry, didn't he? He came calling on Ankrum, got there, and looked like he was going to be able just to drive around Tyler. But Tyler with some nice moves down low on the racetrack. Ben trying to run the high line. He's able to hold him off.
When you talk about not old enough, he just turned 18 years old in March.
Remember, Bono Mannion, his crew chief, brought him in before the end of that second stage. He pitted on lap 57, which means he's going to have to pit somewhere around lap 105 to 110. We're currently on lap number 88 right now. But again, he brought him in. There's Bono right there. He knew he only had to make one more pit stop. So whether he made it at lap 57 or at the end of the stage really didn't much matter.
Well, now the key for young Ankrum is to make sure he hits his mark coming to pit road. Can't get a speeding penalty here this late in the race. You want to make sure you maximize your speed, but don't make a mistake. Another thing for this kid to think about at the age of 18. He's obviously proven he's got the skills to run fast and out front. Now he just has to be precise when he makes his pit road appearance here in a bit.
As you can see, he was our K&N Pro Series East champion last year, driving for this same race team, DJR Crosley.
And a big benefit for him to have a crew chief with the experience of Bono Mannion on the box, not just in the Truck Series, but at the Cup Series level as well. As you see Stuart Friesen make that move underneath Tyler Dipple for 10th. The third and final stage, working through the laps here at Kentucky. Got to take a break, but you won't miss a lap. Going to keep on trucking.
I think that high groove would be the deal if somebody was good enough to figure it out.
It could get there or something like that.
Dipple decided he's going to try it up there, or excuse me, Ankrum. Here comes Brett, fastest truck that lap.
Yeah. Lupton just ran his fastest lap of the race. I think Moffitt wins this race.
Moffitt dead on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he's on his... Oh, big contact.
Dale Jr. backed into Dale Jr. there, I think.
They're having a good time. Yeah, I love seeing the kids with the cars playing at the track. I mean, that's exactly what they should be doing. If they're not watching what's going on, they ought to be down playing with their toys. Toy cars is the way it ought to work. These two guys aren't playing. Tyler Ankrum in the lead and Ben Rhodes chasing him.
What a run Rhodes got down the front. He was right on the tailgate of Ankrum as they entered one, and not too sure there wasn't a bit of contact.
These guys get to racing too hard. That truck right there, third line, Brett Moffitt will catch those two.
Tyler Ankrum out front. He's done a lot of racing in his life, even at 18 years old, but he's never done this, leading out there for this long. And he's doing a lot of learning, but virtually silent on the radio. They keep reading him lap times, and they finally asked him, how's the balance of the truck? He said, a little snug, but this is pretty damn good. So he's having a good time and learning while he does it, trying to hold off Ben Rhodes.
Well, we mentioned he led some laps, 9 laps at Texas, where he finished 8th. Certainly this is the most he has ever led at a Truck Series race. He's been out front for 27 laps tonight. And a little different when you're leading the race for this long and holding off the challenges of a guy like Ben Rhodes.
And I like he's moved around a little bit. Michael was talking during the break, but there's been times when he's dipped up there with his right sides in the traction compound down in 1 and 2 and when he was able to do that, as we take a look at Matt Crafton trying to get by Austin Wayne Self. And let's give him a call. What a nice job Austin Wayne Self is doing tonight. That is a battle for the 7th spot. He's kept his nose clean, been competitive this entire race, trying to get his 2nd top 10 of the year. Started out the year with a top 10 in Daytona, trying to get another one.
Yeah, you've had a runner-up finish in Daytona a couple years ago. That's been his best performance, but this team has been pretty consistently getting better, and here comes Moffitt. He's been running the leaders down.
For 2nd, Brett Moffitt inside, and last year's race winner here at Kentucky, Ben Rhodes, there in the 99.
Did you see how the experienced Moffitt just sort of tested the waters down on the bottom? Didn't fly down in there and try the slide job. He just easily got to the bottom, saw what he had to back out. These guys will need to move their lines around some if they're going to make any ground on Ankrum, because he sort of set sail.
And Michael, we saw the 99 of Ben Rhodes on pit road the last time they had the hood up. They were just working on the drivability of that truck. They wanted the front of the truck, the sway bar, to load quicker on entry to the corner, meaning the truck was too free. I just spoke to the crew chief, Matt Noyce. He said on a scale of 1 to 10, we've fixed our problem about a 5. So they've got to snug this truck up a little bit more on entry so it can be a little bit more aggressive if he wants a shot to win tonight.
Well, there's no question it's significantly better than what it was early on.
Yeah, without a doubt. He was really struggling. Did not finish up in the top 10 in the first stage. Now let's see if Brett Moffitt can use this traffic and maybe to make that move around Ben Rhodes.
Oh, that's Ty Hill in the 56 that's held up the 99 of Rhodes. Moffitt pulling side by side for position.
I believe he's going to use Hill as a pick here and maybe be able to make this move.
Hill got through that corner extremely well, just as fast as these two guys are racing for the 2nd spot.
Rhodes somehow squeezes between the two and keeps that position ahead of Moffitt.
Hill running in the 17th position behind Mason Massey. Massey's having a nice run up in 16th on the last truck, as you see him there going off the screen. Another issue for Sheldon Creed.
This was a couple of laps ago. Creed, who's already 10 laps down, got into the wall and had that contact. He was our stage 1 winner, still has the most laps led tonight, 36, but certainly significant problems for that 2 truck.
Phil, I feel like there's grip up in that traction compound. I want somebody to go up to the top a bit, maybe get out of the wake of the truck you're following, get up higher and see what you can find out.
I think the guys are feeling like they're using so much on throttle time down here in 1 and 2. Maybe they're not running wide open, but running all but wide open. Then it's a shorter way around the racetrack. Maybe they don't need the grip down there in 1 and 2. But we certainly see guys using it down here in 3 and 4, just like Matt Crafton, even though that's turn 2. And he makes a nice move around the outside of Brendan Poole. He used that traction compound to gain that advantage on Brendan Poole down at the other end of the racetrack. Now he's going to complete the pass.
That was for 6th. Back to 2nd place battle between Moffitt and Rhodes, and is Moffitt finally going to clear him? He does. So Brett Moffitt worked Ben Rhodes lap after lap after lap, but finally got the job done and made the pass.
Look at our left side of our screen right here. These pit stops all over the place. Remember Tyler Ankrum? We talked about him pitting on lap number 57. That was 48 laps ago. He's got to be within, even with caution laps, 5 to 7 laps away from pitting. Ben Rhodes, they have a little bit more cushion, maybe 15 more laps. Harrison Burton is also going to have to be in the pits before too much longer.
And I'm going to tell you, these lap times just haven't fallen off that much. And that's why you see all the differing strategies, people trying to figure out how to get that track position and how to have it at the right time. And so coming to pit road, getting a couple of tires and some gas, I think is going to be the call.
Remember last year, Ben Rhodes won this race. He ran the last 77 laps on the same set of tires. His call on his last pit stop was fuel only, and he won the race.
Well, in the last all-call pit stop, in which it brought multiple trucks down to pit lane in regards to the leaders, we saw some take 2 tires, some take 4, and some take gas only. So that what they did on the previous pit stop will likely have impact on what they do on this final pit stop.
I just don't think that with this many laps, as much gas as he's going to need, I think it's time to just go ahead and get 2 right side tires.
I would do right side tires.
And then fill it up with fuel to get to the checkered.
Yeah, the 2 previous years to last year, 2 right side tires on the last pit stop won the race.
Well, it wouldn't be as big as Justin Haley winning last week at Daytona, but it would be significant if Tyler Ankrum can hang on. We're going to break, but you won't miss a thing.
Tyler Ankrum's pretty much the real thing, huh?
I've been preaching that. Now he just can't screw it up.
Yeah. Come in now with all that traffic. Good time to do it.
Who's up there spotting? That'd be a good call, the spotter to make.
I think he is coming.
Doug Gander.
See the president of Chevrolet?
That's Jim. That's his dad, Jim.
Well, he did a nice job of, might have been too conservative, but it certainly was.
That's better than the other way, right?
Yeah, so far.
Bono's got to put 2 tires on with 40 to go, don't you figure?
I got to, and I got to tell him not to slide that left front.
Because you're gonna have to, you need to fill it up.
You got to have 2 cans.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't slide my tires. Don't slide my tires.
Nice job. No penalties here. No penalties. Good exchange with the fuel.
No. What was the deal? The fuel was slow. Don't speed. I'm pulling for you, buddy.
I think Moffitt gets the lead in the exchange.
You think he also gets gas only?
Moffitt?
Yeah.
No, I think they'll do 2. Well, he can go another 10, 15 laps. Probably fuel only. Whoa! Whoa!
That was.
What did
Doug Campbell
Moffitt
must have been
do
asleep
last
at the
time?
switch. Well, whoever gets no tires is gonna, if Moffitt gets no tires, I think Moffitt's in the catbird seat.
Well, you saw during the commercial break, Tyler Ankrum giving up the race lead to come to pit road to get right side tires. And that leaves Brett Moffitt in command. Moffitt, last time he came to pit road back on lap 61, he took 4 tires.
You think Moffitt comes to pit road for gas only? I mean, he's still got to
check that lap 73 when he pitted.
Yeah, he's still got probably. What do you think?
10
I was going to guess
more.
10. Phil, here comes Ben Rhodes sliding into his box.
The last couple laps, the truck, Michael, went to the tight side, so they're going to make a track bar adjustment. You see the wedge, the adjuster right there. 2 right side tires and fuel for the 99.
Clean stop for Rhodes. I do want to just clean up on Moffitt real quick. Moffitt took 4 on lap 61. He came back, pitted again at lap 73, but it was gas only. on that stop.
I think the most we're going to see Jerry Baxter put on that 24 truck is right side tires. He can go probably, he pitted on 73, so he can probably go to 123, 4, 5, somewhere in that range. So he's probably within 10 laps of coming to pit road. But I like the 2-tire call.
Either 2 tires or no tires. I think no tires might be an option for Baxter. They might only need 1 can of gas. It's going to be really close to that, and if you don't have to plug in that other can, it'll be faster than you could get 2 tires, as you see Brendan Poole coming to pit road now.
Pitting from just inside the top 10. Tyler Ankrum, inexperienced, ultra conservative on his entrance to pit road. Does that put the hands in the, maybe a little advantage in the hands of Brett Moffitt, who has more experience, can be a little more aggressive?
It certainly does, and I think we noticed him conservatively coming to the entrance of pit road. But watch the exchange on the gas. I talk about only needing 1 can. Watch how much longer it takes the fueler to get the can and get plugged back in while those tires have already been changed. If you only need 1 can, I think Moffitt's in a position where he can just gas and go it.
Yeah, I think if Moffitt doesn't make any mistakes when he comes to pit road, he will have the lead. He will more than gain the gap that he had behind the 17 of Ankrum.
And Ankrum, Jerry Baxter and that team can say, okay, it took Ankrum this long to make his pit stop. Baxter can do the math, and they can figure out maybe we can get 2 tires and still come out ahead of Ankrum. They've got a big separation over everyone else.
And he's still the fastest truck on the racetrack right now. That last lap, he was 0.2 of a second faster than the next fastest truck on the racetrack.
Well, it's a 9.5 second lead for Baxter's driver, Brett Moffitt. There he is in that 24, and that's a close battle for second between Harrison Burton and Dylan Lupton, but there is no pressure for Moffitt at all. Ross Chastain on pit road now, Hermie.
Yeah, they told him not to slide the tires, meaning it'll be 2 right side tires and wedge for the 45.
Look how much quicker those pit stops are when you don't have to plug in that second can like we saw them do with Tyler Ankrum. That's the disadvantage to pitting as early as he did back on 57. He needed more fuel. These guys that pitted 15 laps later didn't need as much fuel as he did.
They hope.
They hope.
They hope they got enough in. You got to get that first can emptied for sure in order to be safe. That was awful quick there on Moffitt.
Well, then how about 17 Tyler Ankrum after leaving pit road and getting back up to speed, having a handful right there and having to gather it up with Mason Massey on his right side door.
That was a great save without a doubt. Now he's going to give it another try to get by that 33 truck. See if he can make it this time.
Ankrum actually had a close call even before that with the 45 of Ross Chastain. Well, here comes Moffitt, and as you guys indicated, expect him to take less time in his pit box than what we saw from the 17, and we'll see indeed if that is the case. Moffitt heading toward Alan Cavana.
They're just telling him don't speed as he gets into his pit. You can see fuel only. They're telling him to go fuel only for Brett Moffitt, going for 2 wins in a row.
Well, I think there's a couple of things there, Phil. They knew how fast they could do that stop if they didn't change tires. And then B, what you mentioned earlier, he had just run a lap that was within a 10th or 2 the fastest of any lap he's run all night long. So they know they've got speed, and they just want to keep that track position.
Harrison Burton taking care of his service as well. Matt Crafton inherits the lead, but he will have to come to pit road also.
A nice rebound for Harrison Burton after that spin over there in turns 1 and 2. There's Ankrum bypassing the 18, so that would put the 17 of Ankrum ahead of the 18 of Harrison Burton.
But these trucks are going to be well behind Brett Moffitt, I believe, when this all cycles out.
And when it does cycle, it's going to be between that 24 and the 17.
Austin Wayne Self coming to pit road. He was running in the 2nd spot, right behind Matt Crafton as he made his pit stop. Should be the last one of the night.
Well, you guys brought up the point so accurately. The big difference between the pit stops, they had to put the gas can in Ankrum's truck twice,
right.
And Brett Moffitt only needed 1 can of fuel, and the time difference was significant.
And the difference is, Vince, Ankrum's not even going to be able to see Moffitt. Moffitt's going to be a half a lap ahead of him, as you see Matt Crafton bringing his Menards Ford to pit road, Alan.
And we saw Matt Crafton lead this race at one point. We saw him come from the back and and right now he gives up the lead to make his final pit stop of the night. He's telling people that he needs to be able to wrap the bottom of the racetrack better, but they're going to do fuel only for the 88. That's the call on the radio as he pulls into his pit stop, fuel only for 88 of Matt Crafton.
Yeah, I think everyone's going to follow Jerry Baxter's lead by fuel only from here on out, the guys that still have to come to pit road.
Now, Phil, I'm not great at math, but you said in our Gander Outdoors pre-race talk that they could go 50 to 55 laps. Half of that would be 25, and one can. They pitted with 30 to go. So do you think they can stretch it out enough?
Remember, the fuel cells are only 18 gallons, and a gas can is 11 gallons plus. So you can put 2/3 of a tank in with one can.
No argument that Michael was not very good at math, though. I mean, we're going to let you, we're going to let you be an authority on that, Mike, and your assessment of your math skills.
I'll continue down that road, Vince, but I tell you this, there's always concern when you make a quick stop at the end. Did you get enough gas in it? That's where I was coming from.
There's Moffitt, the leader.
And Moffitt's got a big lead right now, guys, but they came over the radio and said, dial it back just a little. We believe we are 2 laps short on fuel. Save fuel, they are telling the leader.
That's exactly what you said, Mike.
I've just seen it my whole life. You come in, you need 1 can of gas, you leave, you think you got it, you measure, you weigh the gas can and say, well, we actually are a gallon short. And so
Ben Rhodes pulling it off the wall after significant contact.
Yeah, a wreck there, it looked like, with the 30 of Brennan Poole. They made contact somehow.
Yeah, tire rub on the right front for Brennan Poole. Ben Rhodes right now running in the 2nd spot. Desperately needs a good finish here to try to solidify his playoff hopes. You see the damage to the 30 of Brennan Poole.
Well, and if Rhodes can keep it in that 2nd spot, if Moffitt is short on fuel and doesn't get it back down and save those 2 laps that his team needed, and maybe it's Rhodes inheriting the victory.
There must have been a little bit of contact possibly before the contact with the outside wall for Ben Rhodes.
Drama on the 99 potentially as well, Vince, as Matt Noyce has told Ben Rhodes even before that contact with the wall, we are also about 2 laps short. I need you to save. We have a little bit of gap, about 11 seconds back to 3rd. I need you to save me at least 2 laps.
So my math skills aren't great, but I can tell you when it comes to getting that final can of gas and getting enough to get to the checkered, it's always seemingly an issue. One guy that I know has enough gas, and that's the 17 truck of Tyler Ankrum. So if those 2 leaders were to stumble, he's going to be sitting there in a perfect spot to pounce.
Yeah, that wall incident with the 99 of Ben Rhodes has given Brett Moffitt about 4 more seconds on his lead. Now he has over 8-second lead, so he can afford to back off. Maybe right behind Austin Wayne Self here. Draft a little bit, save a little fuel, Michael.
Our Gander Outdoors 20 to go here at Kentucky Speedway.
I would be doing exactly that, Phil. This 22 truck's had nice pace all night long. Brett can roll off the gas early. He can maybe only go 3/4 wide open off the turns and keep up. Those trucks put such a big hole in the air. It really enables Moffitt to save some gas if he's able to follow along here.
No pressure out the back window for Brett Moffitt, but does he have enough fuel to get to the end?
That's I thought maybe he left when we called that battle for the lead.
He jumped
With
up,
the 34.
jumped out of his seat.
Balicki.
Clay Greenfield. What are they saying?
I don't know. Well, what do you mean with a NASCAR official there talking to him?
Why don't we ask Baxter if they got enough gas?
Yeah, I think we need to interview Baxter. Still had the 4th fastest truck that time. Needs to slow down more.
No doubt. I mean, all you got to do is do the math. That's what we said about drafting and following that cat.
I'd slow down a half a second right now, wouldn't you?
Yes. Or more.
Then he can always pick it back up if he needs to because he's got the speed.
Wonder if you could clutch it for a while. Do you think that helps with these things? I don't know how that would relate to the new world we live in.
I know they say the Cup stuff's so efficient that, you know, you back off the throttle and there's no fuel going in.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
If he don't crash himself.
He's trying to.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
Flat tire after scrubbing the wall.
Gotta be. Or else he was 15 laps short. I'm telling you, they didn't wait for fuel. His pit stop was fast. Ooh.
No.
It's going to be cautions coming out.
Yeah, this is going to.
A big development here at Kentucky Speedway. The 99 of Ben Rhodes. One time challenging for the win. But that left rear has come apart, and it has put a lot of rubber on the track, although we're still green, and Rhodes is making his way toward pit road.
That's a tough break. He scrubbed the right side. I didn't see any damage to the left, and that playoff bubble just got bigger, if that's what a bubble does.
You know, it's interesting. Moffitt with this huge lead, but he's been told that they're a couple of laps short, so they've been asking him to save fuel. Watch all this rubber come apart here on this.
Yeah, we saw
99 of Rhodes
fly on the racetrack, and the subsequent trucks that came by may have blown that rubber back off the racetrack.
Yeah, just left side for the 99, also trying to make sure they've got the fender and a lot of rubber that's wrapped around the hub and the brake system and the track bar, and a lot of mess to clean out. Tough break for the 99. They'll get him back out and try to finish this one off, but another big setback for this race team.
Well, you see our Xfinity fastest pit stops, and the teams were doing work, and in some instances gas only, some 2 tires. The longest of the bunch there, Tyler Ankrum, 12.6, but he put a second can of gas in, and maybe that long stop will pay off if the others happen to run out of gas.
Yeah, Brett Moffitt has really backed it down. He was over a second slower that last lap than he had been running.
How about the 24's crew chief, Jerry Baxter? Alan?
Yeah, I'm up here with him now. Some tense moments. How's it going? Is he saving enough? Do you have enough?
It showed we were 2 laps short, so we backed him off a lot. Had quite a lead. I think the GM Chevy's good. Been good all day long. You know, just need a track position again like last week. So hopefully we saved enough.
Well,
Time will tell, guys.
Yeah, Alan, he's saving at the rate of 2 seconds a lap now, which he has 8 seconds to give away to Tyler Ankrum, and I'd give away most of it, Phil. You've got to make sure you get to the checkered, and Moffitt has backed it way down.
As a race car driver, all your life, you're just trying to go as fast as you can possibly go. You've got to hate it when you've got to save gas, don't you? It's just the opposite of everything you've learned and tried to do your whole career.
We saw that 9 truck right in front of him. That's Cody Robaugh. He let Cody go by, and Cody's now driving away. He's having a good run. He's running in the 16th spot, 2 laps down, but here comes Ankrum now. He's closed it up to 8 seconds with 9 to go.
And Vince, I'll tell you this, all you ever wanted to do as a kid is win. So if you've got to run slow to win, it's going to be just as sweet, the taste of victory. But who you really want to be is Tyler Ankrum. With enough gas, and you know you got a guy hobbling out ahead of you, go run that guy down and win the race.
Moffitt, last year's series champion, has 2 wins to his credit, including the most recent race at Chicagoland Speedway, looking to go back-to-back. Tyler Ankrum, just 18 years old, has 11 career races under his belt, trying to win for the very first time in his career. Ankrum has led the most laps tonight, but had to come for a pit stop and put in more fuel than the 24, and it took longer on the pit stop, and that's where he lost his track position, and Moffitt inherited the lead.
Yeah, Brett Moffitt ran about a half a second faster that lap than he did the lap before. Still with a 6.5 second lead. He still has a lot of time here with 7 to go.
Good looking Ankrum in that 17 truck.
It's just been a great night for this young man. He's such a talented racer. We've seen it, Vince. He runs fast everywhere we go, and now he's in a position to run down the champ and win this race.
Finished 3rd at Iowa, or excuse me, 3rd at Texas.
What I'm impressed about is when these 18-year-old teenager kids just come to NASCAR, they've got it figured out already and able to run fast on these big tracks.
Yeah, Brett Moffitt that time was the fastest truck on the racetrack. They must have turned him loose and said, maybe you've saved enough by now, as he's going to try to get by the 9 of Cody Robaugh that he let go about a half a dozen laps ago.
Maybe it's a case where he said, I got to see what I got. Make sure if Tyler does get here, I can go for it. But he's still got a big lead. Needs to still be saving with just 5 to go.
The final 5 laps, and for Stuart Friesen, boy, what an eventful day it has been for Friesen. Had his primary truck confiscated by NASCAR before he ever got on the track today for the very first practice. That was in inspection this morning. Saw something in the rear firewall that NASCAR did not like, and they made Friesen pull out the backup, and he had to start from the rear of the field. He's marched his way up, and now Friesen rides 3rd.
We talked about guys charging from the back to the front. Friesen was one of those guys up inside the top 5. Another one, Jeb Burton. Give Jeb a shout out. He's currently in the top 10. Nice run for Jeb.
Less than a handful remaining for Brett Moffitt. Has he saved enough gas? They had told him at one point he was 2 laps shy. That lead was well over 8 seconds. It's now down under 6. He has definitely been slowing down on certain laps.
This is the longest couple of 3 laps he'll ever run, Vince. As you see, Matt Crafton drops off the pace. He's out of gas. And look at those wheels hop. Heard earlier he's having issues with his back brakes. You can see the wheels bouncing off the road.
And Todd Gilliland out of gas as well. But the leader, Brett Moffitt, marches on with 2 laps remaining. 2 laps. Remember, they told him he was 2 laps short. Well, he just crossed the line. 2 to go.
Can you hold your breath for 2 laps?
They're guessing. They're just telling him 2 laps short to see how much he could save. Looks like to me he's out.
Oh, he is out. Brett Moffitt is out of gas. And Ankrum is going to come by and take the lead. But Moffitt shaking it and heading to pit road. And here comes Tyler Ankrum in the 17 truck, with less than 2 laps remaining. One lap remaining for Tyler Ankrum. Gilliland Crosley Racing has never won before, and Ankrum, just 18 years old, couldn't even race all the tracks at the beginning of the season because he wasn't old enough. Turned 18 in March. He has led the most laps tonight, and it was no fluke. What an upset. Tyler Ankrum wins at Kentucky.
David Gilliland, co-owner of that team, so excited about getting this victory and going to victory lane with 18-year-old Tyler Ankrum. And on the other side of the world, you saw the 24 of Moffitt there creeping out of the pits. Disappointment for that team.
Tyler Ankrum joins Carl Edwards as the 2nd driver to win for the first time in his career here at Kentucky. Pretty good company. Allen's with the crew chief.
High fives, hugs, all sorts of celebration going on. Bono Manning, how do you describe your driver? This young man right here. How do you describe this young man?
You know, he's an amazing, young, talented kid. I first come to work for DGR Crosley a couple years ago. I seen him and I'm like, who's that kid? Oh, that's kind of looked, I won't tell you what he looked like, but I watched him in New Smyrna in the K&N car the first time, and I said, unbelievable, you know. And you know, he had to get in a truck earlier this year for a couple races because we felt strong we'd win a race and have some funding to make it to the end of the year and run for the championship. So thanks to the Railblazer coming on board, Toyota with the support they give us. This was a brand new truck that the Fab Shop built. Just went to the wind tunnel with it Tuesday night. Worked till 11 o'clock, pushed it on the truck. He drove straight here with the truck, and you know, one of them Cinderella stories. But for this team, Bo Lamastis is here today. This is a big Crosley country out here, being from Louisville, Slugger from TRD. I know I'm rambling, but so many people to thank for this. But like I said, Bo and David have put together a great little truck team. K&N, late model, ARCA, you name it, we'll race it. So going to the
hey, go celebrate. Kevin Bono Manning gets the win.
Tyler Ankrum. He wasn't old enough to run the big tracks at the beginning of the season. Did not compete in the first 3 races of the campaign. But because of that age restriction, he will be playoff eligible, and he will be in the playoffs with this win here tonight.
Talk about turning the playoff situation upside down.
Did we try to sell that Eldora could be a real wild card in this playoff?
How about
Chase?
Kentucky a wild card?
You got that right. What a feeling that has to be for that young man. He's won in one of the big 3 series of NASCAR now.
You never know. Live sports, unbelievable. How about that celebration? Do you have to do that? Tyler Ankrum, the winner at Kentucky. Do you think, I mean, obviously he didn't save enough, but I mean, do you think Moffitt should have been more aggressive in his gas saving?
Totally, 100%.
Yeah, he had 6 seconds when he took back off.
He ran a 30-50. He was the fastest truck in the racetrack with 3 or 4 to go.
But they told him he was going to run out with 2 to go. He saved way more than, I mean, they were wrong.
Yeah.
He was going to run out with 4 to go.
Yeah. But I don't know why he picked it back up. I really
don't either. Probably was told he thought he was good. That kid can drive right there. Yeah, it was right there.
Yeah. I mean, they had like 4 laps left, I think.
Yeah, no more than that. Yeah. Because he pitted with coming for the white, right? Woo. Huh? Yeah, six laps to go. He was the fastest truck on the racetrack.
Yeah,
with a 6-second lead.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it still wouldn't have, it might have helped.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that? Yeah. Man, that took a big turn. And, you know, Friesen this week, that could change.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah. Harrison Burton won ARCA race at Pocono.
Were you there?
Wow, sort of. Huh? Yeah.
All right. The unlikeliest of scenarios when this night started. 18-year-old Tyler Ankrum has stunned the Gander Outdoors Truck Series world with his first career win in his 12th career start. Does it for Gilliland Crosley Racing. And how about this playoff picture? All of a sudden, Ben Rhodes goes from good, in the 8th position of the cut line Now he's all of a sudden 10th after his issues tonight, and Burton's got a big 40-point gap to the 8th playoff spot.
Ben Rhodes was 53 to the good. He's lost 113 points in the last 2 races to the cut line.
Wow. It looked like Brett Moffitt had this one, but it didn't work out, Hermie.
And he's won some races, Vince, in dramatic fashion tonight. I know a lot of disappointment. Your crew told you about 10-15 to go, about 2 laps short. So how do you know when you've maybe going to save enough?
I was just backing up as much as I could. I mean, honestly, everyone on this team did a great job. Sucks to lose them like that, and we lost another playoff spot to another manufacturer, which isn't good for Chevrolet. But you know, we had a really good Chevy Accessories Silverado here tonight, and all in all, you know, we called it a great race, and we were just a lap short. It's tough. We had a good sized lead there and a great handling truck, and I've never ran great here, so that was fun to get up front and dice it out. And Jerry called a great race, and everyone works hard here, and I can't thank the Gallagher family enough and everyone involved, but that's a bummer.
Classy in defeat. That's Brett Moffitt. He ends up 7th after running short on fuel. And let's go to Victory Lane and Alan Cavana.
Tyler Ankrum still getting the congratulations. Here he comes. Tyler Ankrum, your race winner. Tyler Ankrum, there was a time in this race where you were leading, clearly had the best truck. You come out in 2nd, a large gap in front of you. What are they telling you on the radio about the leader, Brett Moffitt?
Man, honestly, I wasn't even really listening. I was just trying my rear end off. Holy cow! I think I held my breath through the last 30 laps there.
You're exhausted.
I'm tired. I think I honestly forgot to breathe. Holy cow, that was awesome. I just can't thank my guys at DJR Carls enough. You know, this win was for D2. He was my tire guy last year in the K&N Championship. He's currently on his way to Boston now to hopefully get healthier. And got to thank the guys at Railblazer Academy, Toyota. Man, I just don't know. I just don't know what to say.
You came into the season with championship aspirations. There were some sponsorship issues that took that scenario potentially away. You're locked in the playoff now. What does that mean to you?
Hopefully that means a sponsor. Holy cow! I cannot believe I just did this. So,
a big hug from Mom. Tears of joy for their young son. Family tears. More hugs, but just tell them, I mean, you could chase a championship now.
Man, I just don't. It's going to take a lot more work, that's for sure. I can't believe this is a dream come true. I didn't, honestly, you know, one of my biggest faults is I've always doubted myself. And tonight, I kind of felt all that wash away. So I just can't thank David Gilliland, Bo Lamassus, DJR Carls. I don't know what else to say.
Enjoy it. Doubts no more, guys. Tyler Ankrum is a Truck Series winner.
He had only had one top 5. Now he's a winner. The 18-year-old from San Bernardino, California, Tyler Ankrum, victorious.
Wrong Tyler.
Yeah, good try though.
His hair's much whiter. Maybe people have been, you know, they tipping a few back. Yeah, they were not. Nobody's not.
How about Friesen finishing 2nd? How about that? Love that.
What about Lupton with the top 5?
Tell you what.
Yeah. How about Enfinger losing 40-some points on his cushion? He was what was he coming in here?
Enfinger
119 or something like that. 111. Lost 38 on his cushion.
Well, it might not even be the end of it. I mean, not Enfinger. What about Friesen?
Yeah,
like that could change
yeah.
too.
That could change 10 to 20, I would think, right?
That could. Well, I shouldn't say that because Creek.
Crafton gets his, what, 11th top 10 in a row.
And he ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Well, our goal coming in.
Although those guys obviously were a lap down, but
doesn't matter.
Yeah, still 8th.
Yeah.
They got there before those other guys.
Austin Wayne Self, though, great finish. That's a legitimate run.
Yeah.
And Lupton, too.
Lupton, too, yeah. 2 good runs in a row for him. Oh, really?
He ran out of gas, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.